Mazzaroth Decoded, 725 through 731. Tabernacle of the Bridegroom. Signs. Sun, moon, and stars. Welcome back, family. Let's do this. Last time we ended here in Cancer with the alignment of Mercury with the moon and the sun in the house. And when we were looking at Mercury, we also had Eunomia and Comet Biela is also still in the constellation. And so we have a full deck in Cancer on the 25th for these signs that we're looking at. And this alignment, it's really important um, for what the message that we're looking for when it comes to the escape of the bride and any of the bridal signs or anything that has to do with the marriage. And so remember, we have Mercury is a messaging star. Mercury is a wandering star. It has its own very specific type of messages that the planets are stars, but they're wandering and they bring a different message than a stationary star. And so what we're looking at is an important alignment that is a message to be taken seriously. Mercury being the first planet from the sun, it has an 88-day orbit, and the Cancer constellation is heavily involved in the signs of resurrection, and that is also a sign of the 88. It's the door, it's the portal, it's the mathematics and the equations equal a lot of different things. And so what we're looking at from here forward is a very important message that gets us the details that we need about the signs that we've been looking for. Now, remember, we were looking in Gemini and we were watching all the signs in Gemini, and we still have Jupiter and Venus is in transition. And so we have some signs here that are happening right at the Silver Gate, and that is also involved in these following two signs. So after the Silver Gate, then you have this marriage sign. Remember, in the ancient times, this was the bride and the bridegroom. And this is at the gate on the opposite side of the Golden Gate. And then remember, Ariga is the charioteer, the chariot. This is another sign of the escape of the bride. And these two connected signs at the gate above Orion. And then, when you look at when you look at the heavens, and you're looking at the gate, which is the Milky Way that comes through this section of the ecliptic, you'll notice that there's the bull's horns and the horn of Monoceros that are pointing directly into the gate. And all this is prophetic when it talks about Orion in star lore and Monoceros and Taurus. All of these horns in the gate are involved in this great wedding that we're looking at. And Cancer is an extension of these signs because of the beehive cluster. And if we look at the ancient sign of Cancer, the Egyptians showed it as a scarab beetle. And that has always been associated with resurrection. And Cancer, having the beehive cluster or the manger, this was, there's many biblical and cultural stories about the lambs and the kids and all of the baby animals being collected in the uh, beehive cluster, which was called a manger in heaven. It was a area of where all of well, to say the lambs, the baby lambs were all kept inside of this uh, ring of stars, and that was the star lore, and that comes down to us uh, through prophetic language that is associated with the stars. If you can take the entire Bible and you can decode, excuse me, you can decode it using the Mazzaroth, because that's really what the language is star language, and it just needs to be decoded in that perspective. And that's one of the perspectives that's missing from the prophetic angle, is how these signs in the heavens, like the Revelation 12 sign on September the 23rd and 24th in 2017, that was a very specific prophetic sign, and it happened in the heavens, and it is part of a timeline that's being presented to us in the sun, moon, and stars. And all we have to do is see this as an ongoing story in the heavens. This is the grand play that's being presented, and it's up to us to look up, or if with our modern technology, we can do even a better job, because we can just jump on Stellarium and we can hunt the entire heavens without any problems with light or vision. You can clear away the land. You don't have to wait for the stars to come into the right position for you to see them. We have technology in our modern world that allows us to take this to an entire different level. And it really, like I've said many times, it takes so much time to do all this work. You could have an entire laboratory full of people doing this work, and you'd still never catch up with the signs that are happening. So there's a lot of watchmen out there that are presenting all of their findings, and it's just amazing that we, even with all of the people that are doing this now, we're not even coming close to presenting everything. Um, I've got close to 200 different asteroids now, and it gets really intense trying to be able to track all these asteroids each month. And I'm working on getting all of the comets done now, and it's a lot of work to see how this grand story plays out. And in the beginning of this type of work, we'll just say 30 years ago, it was uh, it was a very slow go at being able to decipher even the main wandering stars and what the main stars that we had understanding of, because back then it was in its infantile stage, and there were very, very few people using the technology 20 years ago, we'll say, to look at this. I don't even think stellarium is that old. So this is all a upcoming and rising field of prophecy, and we need to give it its due, and we need to spend more time looking up for how this grand story plays out. Because all of the things that I've found over the last 6 to 7 years in the signs that I've been looking at, it is it is absolutely a ongoing day by day, minute by minute story, and it's just our job to decode that heavenly story that's been written from the beginning of creation. So we are now looking at this constellation and making focus of this sign because of Mercury making its alignment in the constellation. And then again, we see this moon, the bride and the bridegroom in the house when the alignment is being made. And so this is an extension of Gemini, the bride and the bridegroom, because we see the moon as the bride and the sun as the bridegroom. And they are now showing themselves in the house, and we can just call that the house of resurrection, the scarab beetle. And you can see this in the Egyptian art with the scarab beetle holding the sun and the moon. And that's exactly what you're looking at here. And this is the artwork that would have been done in the ancient times. When they saw this, they would make their artwork of these signs in the heavens. And these were also very important um, stellar signs for the ancients. And that's why we have the depictions of these uh, constellations throughout all kinds of cultures. And so this is a very, very important message, and this entire week of signs is leading up to something very grand, and you can watch it happening in the heavens. And as we move forward, you're going to see these planets become like a gathering. And that's how what we're looking for when it comes to the story of the bride and the bridegroom and all of the participants. We're looking for the sun and the moon and the wandering stars to traverse through the ecliptic and come to a place where they all gather for the wedding. And this is the story that we're telling in the heavens. And these are the signs that are given to us to watch. So next we're going to Asteroid Manoa. And we have Manoa aligning with the golden gate of the ecliptic here. And this is, as you know, this is a very important location in the heavens. This is in the constellation of Taurus, and this is the connection of the Pleiades with the Hyades in the head of Taurus at Aldebaran, the star, the eye of the bull, the star in the head of Taurus, connected to the horns that travel into the golden gate, the silver gate. And so this constellation is all gate language. And this is right at, as we were speaking before, the horns are going into this gate at all of the signs for the wedding. And also, you can look at this as the escape language, also because Auriga is the charioteer. And the charioteer uh, has swooped. You can look at it in the image. You can see he has swooped up all of the kids, the baby goats. It looks as if they're depicting baby goats. And he has swooped them up at the gate. And on the opposite side, we see Monoceros. And that is also uh, a sign of escape, because we know we're looking at these ancient stories. We have understandings of these horns, and these horns are like warning signs at the gate. And so when we look at the bride and the bridegroom and Mercury, the messenger star, marking Cancer with the bride and the bridegroom, then we can see how this happening on the same day, this is just um, like an out, little over an hour after, we have Manoa aligning at the golden gate of the ecliptic. This is all gate language. It's all showing us signs of the gates. Let's go dig into the codes really quick. We have asteroid Manoa equals Sauron. Comet ping pong, sudden death, drop the hammer, the blood of the lamb. The Lord is one. Priest of God, I claim God's kingdom come. The Ethiopian king, the key of David, the lunar eclipse, the God of heaven, the art of war, the final battle, follow rabbit, divine timing, the Orion cube, Hebrew gematria, black monolith, and R code decoder. This is July 25th. Asteroid Manoa aligning at the golden gate of the ecliptic. And these are all signs of the gate. We can also see Venus is in transition between the horns and about to come very, very close to the horn of Taurus. And this is another marking of these horns. And we can also look at the horns as like trumpets. And so we are looking at very important signs that are happening on July the 25th. If you're not familiar with the day out of time in Mayan mythology, I would heavily suggest that you do some, just even if you just scratch the surface on the Mayan day out of time. They had the most accurate timekeeping calendars of any culture anywhere and throughout all of history. And that um, culture had a very specific way of tracking time. And July 25th was considered the day out of time, the last day of the year. And it was July the 26th that was celebrated as the New Year in the Mayan cosmology. And so this message that we're getting on the day out of time, and then we saw the codes that are happening on that day with Manoa. We really need to keep our heads on a swivel because the things that are happening in the heavens are about to get uh, very, very serious, in my opinion. The things that I've seen moving forward are um, some of the strongest Mazzaroth language I've ever seen. I've been doing this for a very long time. And this is very, very exciting star language. And we're just going to keep moving forward. We're going to do our best to do this reporting um, week by week now. I'm going to just track as much as I can get in within that week. And as I move forward, I'll just be getting more and more, and we'll be getting all the problems rectified because I just barely got set up. I have had a lot of time being taken from just getting all my stuff out of storage because now I have my own place and I can get settled, and I'm still not, still haven't gone all the way through storage. This last week, I got a little bit under the weather. I'm still dealing with a little bit of congestion, and that's what's kept me from even doing this report. I've had this up for a week, and I just haven't been able to get to it because of me having to work. And sometimes when you're real sinusy and you're having problems breathing, I have severe asthma and allergies, and it all adds up to not even being able to uh, produce a video. So this is the first opportunity I've had to do this correctly, and so we're playing catch up. But I want everybody to be able to have the opportunity to see these signs as we move forward. So we're just going to keep doing weekly reports and make sure that we get in as much as we can. And these weekly Mazzaroth decodes are going to be longer. I'm not even going to give them a time anymore. We're just going to get everything in that I that I find for the entire week, and we'll just keep reporting week by week, and that should allow me to catch up, and then I can really begin to search deeper because I'm only scratching the surface. I'm not even able to cover all 200 asteroids, but I will be able to soon. It just takes a lot of work, and during this time, transition me in this new place, it's still going to take me another couple weeks to go through storage and get all my stuff and get this place set up correctly. And that'll allow me to have all of the necessary tools that will give me the space that I need to do this correctly. So let's move forward. Our next asteroid is Leonis, and this is another very important sign in the heavens because the codes are really beginning to speak uh, deep, and this all happening on 725 was pretty amazing to me. Um, Many of you know my birthday is July the 25th, and when I was doing my Mayan studies, um, and the studies for the day at a time, I was just in awe and shock the entire time because of my birth happening at that time, and also the signs that are in the heavens at the time of my birth. And um I believe this is like what I'm made for, because of all of the things that were in the heavens at that time. And this asteroid making its alignment. Let's get in here, make sure we're right on. And this is asteroid 728 Leonis. And this is the alignment with the water stream of Aquarius. So let's go dig into these codes and let's see what these codes are bringing out within the equations. So this is asteroid Leonis equals Ouroboros Tartarus, Hadron Particle Collider, Resurrected, Trump Dragon, Quantum Leap Now. Who is Mary Magdalene? November the 13th. 13 November, the heavenly realms, Antichrist revealed, and she became a pillar of salt. The salvation of God, Yahweh hates women. God be making me stronger. Illuminati sacrifice. Heaven is ahead, not behind. Golden gates unlock. Now, this is, I've got to stop here because when you get this kind of language equations with these asteroids, they can really bring a lot out within the what you're looking at in the heavens. Well, we have asteroid Leonis at the golden. Let's let's just go back really quick, and we're going to be looking at this. This is we just had Manoa at the golden gate of the ecliptic, and now we have Asteroid Leonis in the water stream of Aquarius, and we're getting codes that we have golden gates on lock. And so when I got to this point with this asteroid, it made me think that asteroid Manoa was like a key, and that key was being unlocked, and it says the golden gates unlock. And then we go to a final trumpet. It's Pentecost. Sirius the dog. Now, this is another one that is just huge because we've been in the stage of waiting for the heliacal rising of Sirius. This is a it happens over a period of time depending on where you are on the planet. I believe it actually began on July the 30th or the 31st. There were people reporting of their first sightings of Sirius in Egypt from the pyramids, and I believe here in America we are looking at August the 8th through I believe it's the 18th or the 19th of August. Depending on where you are on the planet, you have a different date for the rising of Sirius. So it's not a specific date on a calendar. It happens at different times in different locations. So this Sirius the dog showing up in Leonis, we are looking at some serious signs, and we need to grasp these codes because they bring out so much more within these Mazzaroth decodes. This allows us to see the heavens, and based on the language, the mathematical language of these chosen names for these asteroids and stars and comets and everything within the heavens has been chosen to have a specific name. Well, that gives it a very specific numerical value, and I believe that there is something much grander going on here. And we can see that this is aligning with what we're looking at in our realm. This physical realm is presenting to us these things that we're seeing within these codes. So you have to look at these with an open mind, and in my opinion, they do a grand job of bringing forth a lot more detail within the star language. So we're looking at Asteroid Leonis in the water stream of Aquarius. Again, this is all happening on the day at a time. Um, and moving forward, I didn't have any signs for the 26th. The next sign that I found was Asteroid Hannah. And what I found with Hannah is that Hannah meets the moon on the 27th. And this was a very, very close. If you look at this image, you can see here, we can even get in closer. Look at how close this is from our perspective. The moon just grazes by Hannah here. And this was an awesome sign to me. Whenever I see these, what they would call an occultation, which is when the moon actually covers the star or the asteroid or you can even have the moon covering other planets. Um, and these are called occultations. But when you have this close approach, we're just looking at alignments here. And these alignments can also have a language of their own because it's like a marking. So we're looking at the moon and asteroid Hannah, and these codes were just incredible to me. This is asteroid Hannah equals open doors 99. And now, if you've been with me for a while, you already know 99 equals rapture. And so all this is all numerical language, and it just keeps going deeper and deeper. We've got Judgment Day, Ascension Day, Transhuman, Pandora's Box, Hadron Collider, all dead. Now, we were just looking at the particle collider in another code. So it's pointing something out that's happening within our world that we all know about. There's reports about this machine or the multiple machines that are out there now. And so we're getting codes, Hadron Collider, all dead. The Book of Life, Holy Ghost, giant red wave, rapture date, root of David, house of David, 318, Orion's belt, Lightbringer, 888, birds come home, God on a cloud, and Arcturus. And all you have to do is dig, if you choose, dig a little deeper into some of these codes, and it can really bring out a crazy amount of detail into the signs that we're looking at. This is Asteroid Hannah in the Leo constellation, aligning with the bride, the moon. This is happening on the 27th of July. Our next sign is the moon's transition. We're going to be watching the moon now transition, and we're going to see the moon make its alignment with Mars here. in the constellation of Virgo. So let's take a look, and we can see that this is happening right here. And now we have both the moon and Mars coming into the constellation of Virgo, July the 28th. We have 1212 here, and we can see that the moon has just moved into the constellation. So this is another sign. We have language here that we can decode. We have Mars, which is a sign of war, strife. Um, you can look at even Mars being a sign of tribulation. You have the bride, and then you have the virgin. This is also a sign of the bride. And at the foot of the virgin, we see Vesta, the virgins. So this is all language of the marriage, because Virgo is depicted as that bride. And so we're looking at Mars and the moon in the constellation of Virgo on 7/28. This is happening just after noon. Then we have um, another very important sign. I'm hoping that this will actually come up. And it may not. I don't see it. And there we go. Okay. So we have Comet P 2010 H2 Vales. And this comet is making its alignment with Spica. And if you've been following me for a while, then you know this part of the heavens is very, very important in star lore, and it is directly aligned with what we are looking for within the language for the wedding feast and the harvest, because Spica is the harvest star. And it is also the line. Let's show you here. So we have this line from Heze to Spica, and this is considered the birthing line of the womb of Virgo, which is this chamber here. And Vales is crossing the line or being birthed because it's in the womb. Then you have Vales being birthed. We can move back in time, and we can see how Vales entered into the womb here. And then we have Comet Vales in the womb here, 7/29. And this is a sign of birth. And again, now we have the moon transitioning in along the ecliptic on the ecliptic in the area of the womb, a sign of the birth of the bride. So this is all language that you can dig deeper. And as we've found with all of this encoded language, it brings out the details. So Comet Vales equals Jesuit. See my life be returned. Okay. I, God, has holy number. Illuminati psyche. Those that play God. Spraying the skies. Yeshua's name in I name. Bride of God, my number. Codes translated by I in a memoir of Yeshua. I, Yeshua, am chosen, okay? A real name of God, Yeshua. Trinity, White Lion, Morpheus, Passover, Line of Judah, Proverbs, and Mary Magdalena. So we have on July 29th, we have this comet marking the harvest, the birthing, and we can see the language has Mary Magdalene in it. So we know this is all language associated with the bride. And again, we see Vesta sitting right at the foot of the Virgin or the bride. So our next sign, we're going to asteroid Mainfranken. And we're looking at another sign in the heavens. I'm sure most of you who have been following me for a while, you know exactly what this sign is all about. We're just going to get it close here. So we are looking at asteroid Mainfranken, making its alignment with Ophiuchus. This is the right leg of Ophiuchus that goes down into the Golden Gate. So this is more gate language. This is also considered the marriage hoopah. If you look at the body of Ophiuchus, it is shaped as it looks as though it's like a tent, and it is a dead ringer for an ancient hoopah, or what they would call the marriage chamber. In the ancient world, they would build these little, sometimes they were like teepee style, sometimes they were box style, sometimes they looked just like this, where they had a crest, and it was a place where the bride they would decorate it and put all kinds of I mean, some of them were very lavish, and they were the spot where the bride and the bridegroom went for the ceremony, and this is where they would exchange the final rings and do a very specific cultural activities. And this was basically the final stage of the marriage, this hoopah. And you can look that up, and it has a lot of details on the internet that you could spend days just doing research on the ancient Hebrew or Israelite pupa or marriage chamber. I would also suggest, if you haven't already done the research, to dig into the ancient Hebrew wedding, because it's not like our modern wedding. There were three different stages of the wedding, and I've broke those down on my old channel, and I have done some basic breakdowns on this channel. So if you've been following me for a while, then you already know. But this hoopah was the final stage of the marriage, and it's where all of the guests would gather, and everyone from the marriage would gather around the hoopah, and then the bride and the bridegroom would come into the hoopah, and then that would be the final stage. And then they would enter into the the house of the, usually it was the parents of the bride and the bridegroom. And you can see that within the images in the heavenlies, because you have the hoopah, you have Ophiuchus and the leg of Ophiuchus going into the golden gate. And then right on the other side of the Golden Gate, you have the Sagittarius constellation with the tabernacle, or the home of the Father. And so we will be expecting to see all the signs in the heavens related to this Golden Gate, and the bringing forth of all of the heavenlies to this location at the hoopah for the marriage. So, if we're going to have a marriage in the heavens, we need to be looking for all of those signs within the Mazzaroth, and that's what we're doing now. Is we're presenting the final stage of the transition to the marriage in the heavenlies. So let's dig into asteroid Mainfranken. This is asteroid Mainfranken aligning with Ophiuchus the snake bearer. This is July the 30th. Asteroid Mainfranken equals the truth, the mark of the beast, man of lawlessness, deep state humiliated. He talks to bride of God. See, the lion is roaring. See, I'm bind Lucifer, Barack Obama. Iranian mothership, seven trumpets, a rise of the phoenix, the Vitruvian man. The Lord returns, dimensional portal. Jesus, take the wheel. Father, Son, Spirit, Sagittarius, God code. Come on, family. Describe the rapture. Speed of rapture is a Ophiuchus rising. There it is. Our sign, Mainfranken, making its alignment, has the codes, the Ophiuchus rising. Now we're going to asteroid Iris. And we have another sign. We're looking at asteroid Iris, making its alignment with the bridegroom. Castor, I'm sorry, Pollux. This is July the 31st, and we have asteroid Iris aligning with Pollux, the bridegroom. We also have Venus now in I believe Venus is in the house. Let's do that really quick. I believe that at this alignment that Venus is in the house. Yes, okay, so we have Venus is inside of the house now. And if we go back a day, you can see how on the 30th, Venus was in transition to Gemini. And now we have uh, Iris making its alignment, and we have Venus in the house with Jupiter. So we have the morning star, the king planet, and the eye of God. If you've been with me for a while, you know that Iris equals eye of God. It also equals eye of God's Son, a rapture. Behold the hand, behold the nail, mark of the Lord, Christ is King, morning star, serpent bearer, the demonic snake, financial crisis, power outage, release the Kraken code, Mario Bergoglio, Game of Thrones, Spirit of Abraham, a serpent-headed lion, the apocalypse, and behold, a pale horse. We're getting the warnings and we're getting all of the details that we need for this upcoming tribulation and the upcoming gathering of the bride. And so we are not lacking for the Father warning everyone. You cannot miss this without being oblivious. And these are the greatest things in all of history being shown to us in the heavens. And 99.9% of the people on the planet, it's going right over their heads and they don't even see it. So we're trying to bring forth the language of the stars in as deep of a way as I can. I've been doing this for a long time, and this is very, very important language within the sign of Gemini that we're looking for. We're looking for the signs for the bride and the bridegroom. And so this is Iris aligning with the bridegroom. And we know that Jupiter is the king planet and it's in the sign. We know that Venus is a sign for Christ, also the bright and morning star. So we have the king and we have the sign of another sign of the bridegroom, who is Venus, and it can also be a sign of the bride when it's an evening star. So Venus is a dual sign. It has the bride and the bridegroom, depending on whether it's a morning or evening star. And right now it's a morning star, so we have the sign of the King Christ at the bride, and now we have the eye of God on the bridegroom. And if we're looking at the bridegroom language, then we move right over here. And at that exact time, the sun is aligned with the Cancer constellation. This is the sign of the resurrection on the last day of July. Each year we have this alignment of the sun with Cancer. It's also, if you go back a couple days, you can see how from the 29th, 30th, and 31st, you have the sun at the beehive cluster. And then on the 31st, it makes its alignment with the constellation. And this is very, very, very important language, um, because where it aligns, so let's just back up one day and we're going to show you some important star language. So this is Acellus Australis. And you can go because we'll get into like 2 hours for this if I have to go deep into this. I'm going to allow you to do your own research on this star. But it's a very, very important star. Let's back up really quick. I want to show you something. These two stars in Cancer that are Acellus Borealis and Acellus Australis are considered the donkeys that are bringing this uh we could call it like the basket that's on the back of the donkeys with the innumerable seed inside. This was like the house of God with all of God's seed inside. And this was the donkeys. It's also associated with the why Christ rode a donkey. And we have on the 31st of July every year we have the alignment with the sun and Acellus Australis. So here we go. We have another star code alignment. Acellus Australis equals royal family. Silver Gate, December 11th, August 13th. The four base ciphers are all linked. Holy art thou, thou art holy, supreme mathematics. Mark of the beast, Obama Barack. You are the phoenix. I am here for a purpose. Family in heaven shocked. Global economic collapse. The spear of destiny. I am the one who knocks. Matrix breadcrumbs. Sagittarius sun. Let no man deceive. Nazi space program. End of November. Aquarius is the key. decode the sacred number of God is 5. These are all very serious codes to me. And we have this alignment every year on the 31st of July when the sun, the bridegroom, rides the donkey Acellus Australis. And we also are going back here and we're going to show you a 3-day sign. It starts here on the 29th, 30th, and 31st. We have Venus marking the sword or the club of Orion. This is another sign to me of the morning star taking up the sword or the club of Orion for the battle that's about to ensue. This can also be seen as a protection for the bride. And then again, we have Venus entering into the constellation of Gemini at the foot of the bride on the 31st. So this finishes up our report for the week, and we end with the bride caster having Venus and Jupiter in the house. Much love, family. We will see you soon.